This guy may not be the strongest fighter, but he gets the attention of every single hot and powerful girl around him. Our story starts with a young man named Tatsumi finishing off an earth dragon, saving the lives of 2 men. They thanked Tatsumi, who states that he dreams of making it big in the imperial capital. The men warned Tatsumi that the imperial capital is not full of hopes and dreams like he expected. Upon arrival in the imperial capital, Tatsumi tried to get hired into the military, but he was kicked out after refusing to settle for a lowly infantry position. He meets Leone and was immediately amazed at her large bosom. Leone told him that she knows a quick way to get hired and asked Tatsumi to buy her a meal in return. Tatsumi naively gives all his gold to Leone, who bidded farewell and informed Tatsumi that he will learn a valuable lesson. After a whole day of waiting, Tatsumi learns that he has been swindled. Penniless, Tatsumi was forced to sleep by the road. A well-dressed lady, Arya, pitied the young man and invites Tatsumi to sleep at her manor. Having learned his lesson, Tatsumi was initially skeptical but eventually accepted Arya's invitation. Tatsumi shares with Arya and her father about how he first journeyed from his home village with his childhood friends, Sayo and Ieyasu, but got separated after bandits attacked them. Arya and her father assure Tatsumi that they will send out a search party for his friends, and that he will be seeing them soon. The next day, Arya has her knights and Tatsumi shop for clothes. One of the knights shares with Tatsumi about the emperor, who is controlled by the prime minister like a puppet as he is only a child. He explains that corruption stems from the prime minister and that a group calling themselves the Night Raid are trying to overthrow the government. Later that night, Arya's mother was suddenly attacked by a bespectacled lady who cut her torso off with a gigantic scissor. Tatsumi realizes that the Night Raid is launching an attack on Arya's family, slaughtering everyone who stood in their way. In the castle, Arya's father begs Leone to spare his daughter before Leone choked him to death. Akame, a member of Night Raid, hops over Tatsumi and dispatches a guard trying to usher Arya to safety. Before Akame can kill Arya, Tatsumi defends her and clashed with Akame, but he was easily outmatched. Leone spots Tatsumi fighting Akame, who stabbed him in the chest, nearly killing him if not for his lucky keepsake. Leone stops Akame from killing Tatsumi and revealed that Arya's family imprisoned and tortured people in their storehouse. Horrified, Tatsumi entered the storehouse and saw Ieyasu, who explained that Arya's family had tortured Sayo to death after drugging them. Arya yells out that they are just a bunch of hicks and that she wanted to make Sayo suffer for having prettier hair than hers. Ieyasu collapses as Tatsumi kills Arya himself to avenge Sayo's death. Akame states that Arya's mother enjoyed drugging her victims and recording in her diary. Ieyasu proudly mentions that Sayo never submitted to Arya's torture up till the very end before dying with a smile in Tatsumi's arms. Leone suggests taking Tatsumi into the Night Raid and assures Tatsumi that they will give his friends a proper burial. As Tatsumi was reminiscing the memories with his childhood friends at their graves, Leone interrupts and drags Tatsumi to meet the other members of the Night Raid. He meets Shili, the bespectacled lady with the large scissors, who informs Tatsumi that he would be killed if he does not join the Night Raid. Tatsumi sees her reading a book on how to cure being an airhead. Mine, a short girl decked out in pink, walks by and asks Leone why a failure like Tatsumi is here with the group. Next, Leone introduces Tatsumi to Bulat, who Tatsumi failed to recognize at first as he was wearing full body armor when they first met. Leone warns Tatsumi that Bulat is gay. At the lake, Leone finds Lubbock waiting to sneak a peek at her usual bath time. Leone introduces the last remaining members of the Night Raid, Akame and their chief Najenda, who asks Tatsumi to join them and reassures him that he won't be killed if he declined. Tatsumi eventually joins the Night Raid as Najenda assures that this role will provide money for his home village. Tatsumi spent some time with Akame as they bonded over cooking and catching fishes for dinner. After most of the Night Raid departed for an emergency mission, Leone shares her newest job request from a woman whose husband was framed and executed by Ogre and Gamal, a royal captain and a merchant. Leone volunteers for the job since she's not on any wanted posters yet. Tatsumi also steps up to take on the task despite Akame's warnings. Najenda allows Tatsumi to take on Ogre due to his determination while having Akame and Leone to assassinate Gamal. In the city, Tatsumi asks Ogre to speak with him in the alley after Ogre had finished his break. Tatsumi strikes Ogre when he had his back turned, but was almost hit by Ogre's counterattack after he mistakenly assumed that Ogre was dead. An enraged Ogre began to overpower Tatsumi, promising to kill the executed man's wife and her entire family. At this moment, Tatsumi leaped into the air, sliced off his arms, and finished off Ogre with a slash. Leone and Akame successfully assassinated Gamal as well. After the mission is over, Akame strips Tatsumi to inspect his body, recalling a proud friend who died of poisoning after keeping his injuries a secret. Najenda informs Tatsumi that going forward he will be training with Mine. Out in the forest, the night raid is in pursuit of intruders who had discovered their hideout. Bulat took the chance to show Katsumi his Imperial armor, which are powerful relics that only the strongest warriors can wield. Akame easily kills the men by a river, while Mine allows herself to be spotted, deliberately putting herself in harm's way as her Imperial arm sniper gun powers up proportionately to the level of danger the user is in. Using their respective Imperial arms, Leone kills her targets while Lubbock strangles a female enemy in a cave. Tatsumi got in on the action as well, and Bulat congratulates Tatsumi for doing a good job. Later that night, Tatsumi wonders if he is suitable to be an assassin. Shiel finds Tatsumi standing in the hallway, about to wake Mine up for his training. When Tatsumi opens Mine's room, he finds Mine in her underwear. Mine starts blasting Tatsumi for being a pervert. Mine calls Tatsumi her minion and orders him around, much to Tatsumi's annoyance. As they are walking in town, Mine shows and explains that only 4 of their members are seen and reported on wanted posters. Tatsumi sees Bulat's old looks on the wanted poster and is amazed at how much Bulat had changed. Mine brought Tatsumi on a shopping spree, stepping on Tatsumi when he complained and reminding him that he is her minion. They saw a crowd forming to witness a public execution. Observing the execution, Mine declared that she will survive and be on the winning side. In the Imperial Palace, Emperor Makoto reads out the death sentence for domestic affairs official Shui. Shui begs Emperor Makoto to listen to his people, but he only listens to the corrupted Prime Minister Honest's words. Yes, the Prime Minister's name is Honest. Prime Minister Honest smiles and tells Shui that he will take good care of Shui's wife for him as he is taken away. Later that night, Najenda briefs her team on the mission to assassinate Local, a sadistic man who uses the Prime Minister's name to kidnap and beat women to death. Tatsumi accompanies Mine on this mission. Much to Tatsumi's surprise, Mine snipes Local successfully as he exited the temple without hurting any of the innocent bystanders. Leone and her group confront Local's guards. Mine declares to Tatsumi that she will never let anyone get discriminated and laughs that when the revolution is over, she will live a life of luxury. Suddenly, Tatsumi and Mine are ambushed by an enemy. Tatsumi manages to restrain the guard for Mine to shoot at, and Mine manages to hit the enemy with her laser while avoiding Tatsumi. Tatsumi flicks Mine's forehead and yells at her for almost killing him. In town, a young woman begs notorious serial killer Zank to spare her life and that she will do anything. But Zank sadistically beheaded her before she was aware of what had happened. Najenda meets up with a dying comrade who handed her a list of supporters for the rebellion, and Najenda promised the dying man that she will lead the revolution to success. Najenda briefs her group on their new mission, exterminating Zank. Tatsumi has never heard of him before, and Mine explains that Zank was the executioner of the largest prison and has developed an addiction towards killing people. Going after civilians once prisoners were insufficient to satiate his thirst for murder, Tatsumi gets riled up to stop Zank, and Bulat tells Tatsumi that it will be safer to travel in a pair, considering that Zank is wielding a stolen Imperial arm. Tatsumi questions what exactly Imperial arms are, and Najenda explains their origin and amazing potential to him, stating that no 2 wielders of Imperial arms have ever clashed and both survive. She explains that Akame's sword, Murasame, is one of the 48 Imperial arms, and a single cut by it will inflict a curse and certain death. Perched on a tower, Zank watches as the Night Raid carry out their mission to eliminate him. Later, while relieving himself in an alleyway, Tatsumi spotted Sayo and gave chase. Catching up with her, Tatsumi gave Sayo a hug and expressed his relief that she was still alive. It turned out that Sayo was in fact Zank concealed behind an illusion, and Tatsumi readied himself for a fight. Zank laughed and commented accurately that Tatsumi must be thinking about stalling until his teammates arrived. Tatsumi realizes that Zank's Imperial arm, Spectator, gave him the ability to read minds. Zank proceeded to easily evade Tatsumi's attacks as he knew what Tatsumi planned to do. Refusing to beg for his life, Tatsumi managed to surprise and injure Zank with raw speed, but he was badly injured in doing so. Akame jumps into the fight and congratulated Tatsumi for doing this well against such a powerful opponent. With spectators' ability, the both of them seemed evenly matched, and despite Akame clearing her mind, Zank could see into the future and inflicted a wound on Akame. Zank asks Akame about how she deals with the voices in her head, thinking that she must hear them just as he does considering how many lives she has taken. Akame blankly told him that she hears no such voices, and this infuriated Zank. Zank created a mirage of the person Akame cared for the most, and the sight of her sister, Kurome, made Akame freeze up. Confident that the hypnotized Akame will not be able to strike back, Zank blindly charges at Akame, but was shocked when she showed zero hesitation towards attacking the illusion. Akame stated that her love for her sister gave her the desire to kill her, striking fear into Zank. Exchanging a flurry of blows, Akame broke Zank's spectator and finished Zank off. A dying Zank realizes that the voices have finally stopped, and he thanked Akame for giving him peace. Akame approached Tatsumi while he was mourning Sayo, and Tatsumi asked about the illusion she saw while fighting Zank. Akame promised to tell Tatsumi everything in due time, assuring him that everyone in the night raid are deeply important to her, including Tatsumi. Ieyasu and Sayo bid Tatsumi farewell in his dream, pointing out that he has new friends and that they will meet again in the next life. Tatsumi wakes up and notices Shiel sleeping next to his bed. Shiel informs Tatsumi that he will be training with for the day. Lubbock wonders out loud to Nagenda if it is really okay to have Shiel train Tatsumi, to which Nagenda said it will be fine, as Tatsumi seems popular with older women. Shiel reveals to Tatsumi that she has never delegated household chores, as she has failed at all of them in the past. When Tatsumi asks Shiel how she became an assassin for the night raid, she shares that she could never hold down a job since childhood due to her clumsiness. Her best friend was the only person who didn't make fun of her. One night, when her best friend's ex-boyfriend attempted to strangle her in a drunken rage, Shiel jumped to her rescue and immediately killed him without hesitation. It was ruled as self-defense, but Shiel never met her best friend since that day. When the dead man's friends surrounded Shiel and threatened to kill her, Shiel murdered them all in cold blood. Shiel realized that she has found her talent at last and decided that she will make the world a better place by killing bad people, eventually getting recruited as an assassin by the Revolutionary Army. Nagenda presents Zank's Imperial Arm to Tatsumi, who puts it on and tried to read Akame's mind but failed to activate it, although he accurately guessed that she wanted to have meat for dinner. He eventually activated the spectator's latent powers, but it gave him a migraine, indicating that it is not compatible with Tatsumi. When asked which is the strongest Imperial arm, Nagenda shares that it is probably the one that grants the user control over ice, and currently wielded by the Empire's strongest warrior, esdeath. Tatsumi got excited and suggested that there could be an Imperial arm out there that could revive the dead. Everyone's expressions turned grim, and Bulat says that everyone only has one life, while Akame advised Tatsumi to let go of that desire as it will cost him his life someday. Shiel later finds Tatsumi sitting by his friends' graves. Tatsumi confides in Shiel that he is still unable to fully accept their deaths. Shiel hugs Tatsumi and consoles him, thinking to herself Tatsumi has helped her discover something else that she's good at. Prime Minister Anas suggested to the Emperor that they call Esdeath back to deal with the night raid since she has already completed her mission of conquering the North, completely dominating their legendary leader. Leone gives Tatsumi a tour of the slums, but got separated when a group of men chased after Leone demanding payment. A friendly guard, Seryu, spots Tatsumi wandering about and got excited at the thought of helping someone in need. Unaware that Tatsumi is from the night raid, Seryu chatted with Tatsumi and showed him her companion, a living Imperial arm called Koko. Tatsumi remained cautious and decided to report Seryu and her Imperial arm to Nagenda. As they went their separate ways, Seryu recalls her fond memories of training with Captain Ogre and swore that the night raid will pay with their lives for murdering her mentor, unaware that the murderer is Tatsumi. In the red light district, Leone transforms into her beast mode and carries Tatsumi as she leapt across rooftops. They watched as trafficked women are made to inhale a purple vapor-like drug, causing them to lose their willpower. One of the traffickers punches a girl suffering from overdosage, enraging Leona, who recognizes her from the slums. Tatsumi and Leone crashed through the roof and slaughtered all the traffickers easily. Tatsumi asks Leone what will happen to the girls, to which Leone replies that she will talk to a doctor from the slums. Tatsumi teases Leone for being soft, but remarks that the only thing that matters is that those girls get a chance to start over. Touched by his words, Leone licks Tatsumi's ear to mark Tatsumi as hers. Mine and Shiel are ambushed by Seryu as they run through a park. Shiel notes that Seryu is unlike the Imperial police they usually fight as she masks her presence well. Seryu smiles as she recognizes the Night Raid members, swearing in the name of absolute justice that she will seek vengeance over the deaths of her father and mentor. Mine blasts at Seryu, only to hit Koro's massive body. Shiel slices through Koro, only to see the monstrous beast regenerate the wound on its neck instantly. Mine reminds Shiel that the only way to take down living Imperial arms is by destroying their hidden core. Koro grew massive arms and proceeded to launch a barrage of fists at Shiel, who struggled to deflect them. Sensing that they were in danger, Mine's Imperial arm gained power, but even so, a powered-up blast fails to hold Koro back for long. With Koro distracted by Mine, Shiel took the opportunity to charge at Seryu. Seryu managed to block a fatal strike by sacrificing both arms and reveals a hidden gun inside her body. Shiel blocks the bullet and slices off Seryu's guns. Sensing her dire state, Seryu ordered Koro to enter Berserker mode. Unleashing a deafening roar, Koro grabs Mine and almost crushes her, if not for Shiel, who cut Koro's arm off. Seryu snipes Shiel with a gun hidden in her mouth, and Koro rips a stunned Shiel into two with its massive jaws. Seryu screams that justice prevails as her backup forces arrive to capture Mine. Just as all hope seemed lost, Shiel uses the last bit of her strength to blind everyone with her Imperial Arm's special ability, securing an escape path for Mine. In her final moments, Shiel recalls her wonderful time with the Night Raid and finding out that there was a place where she truly belonged. Right before Koro consumes Shiel, she apologizes to Tatsumi for being unable to hold him again. Seryu celebrates her victory over an evil villain despite losing both arms, shocking the rest of her comrades. The Night Raid are shocked over Shiel's death. Emotions ran high as Tatsumi and Mine vowed to seek revenge for Shiel as they mourned her death. At his childhood friend's grave, Tatsumi feels Shiel's spirit giving him one last hug. As the sun rises, esdeath smiles as she finally returns to the Imperial capital. At the royal court, esdeath receives 10,000 gold from Emperor Makoto for conquering the north. When Emperor Makoto asks if there's anything esdeath wants in exchange for taking out the Night Raid, esdeath replies that she would like to fall in love, shocking the Emperor and the Prime Minister. After a conversation with Prime Minister Honest, esdeath issued an order to her 3 loyal servants. Tatsumi finds Akame preparing Shiel's favorite food as an offering and commented that he has seen her do the same for his childhood friends. When Tatsumi mentions how amazing Akame is for keeping her composure despite the loss of a close friend, Akame grabs Tatsumi and cries out that she is only able to bottle up the pain inside her as it may affect the important mission that they are entrusted to carry out. Tatsumi felt ashamed that he has been feeling sorry for himself up till now and vowed to stay alive so as to not make Akame sad. Secretly listening to the conversation, Leone smiled at Tatsumi's resolve. Tatsumi spars with Akame, demanding that he wants to treat it like a real fight when he got suddenly punched in the face by Bulat. Bulat explains that he should always mind his surroundings if he intends to treat this seriously. In the north, esdeath's servants confronted a politician who was planning to stop Prime Minister Honest, killing everyone in sight and framing Night Raid for this violent act by scattering papers with their logos around. While briefing the team, Najenda stated that the murdered politicians were competent ones who disagree with Prime Minister Honest's policies. Najenda states that they cannot afford to let more of these valuable individuals die and determined that there are 2 next likely targets, splitting up the Night Raid to guard over both. Akame and Lubbock form one team while Bulat partners up with Tatsumi. On the ship where their target is on, an invisible Bulat reminds Tatsumi not to let his guard down. Bulat recalls how he failed to save his general who was imprisoned for not accepting Prime Minister's honest bribes, eventually leading to Bulat's arrest as well, which forced him to escape with the Guardian arm in Curcio. During her surveillance mission on esdeath, Leone had to resist her urges to attack esdeath in the open as she sensed it was a trap. Leone made the wise decision to back off as esdeath was aware of an enemy's presence the whole time. On the ship, a flute melody causes everyone to fall asleep. Struggling to stay awake, Tatsumi made his way to the deck where he is immediately engaged in a fight with Daidara, one of esdeath's servants. Chased by an axe Daidara has thrown, Tatsumi ran straight towards Daidara, hoping that the axe will strike him in its path. Bulat intervenes from nowhere and scolds Tatsumi for falling into an obvious trap. Having stayed invisible and inflicting an injury on himself to avoid falling asleep, Bulat equips Incursio and took on all three of esdeath's servants by himself, splitting Daidara in half immediately. To his surprise, Bulat realized that one of the servants was his old general, Liver. Liver confronts Bulat and explains that he became a servant indebted to esdeath after she saved his life many years ago. Despite the enemy turning out to be his former general, Bulat vows to complete his mission. Liver reveals his imperial arm, which gave him the ability to manipulate any liquid. Expressing how lucky he was that their battlefield happens to be in middle of the sea, Liver directs jet streams of water to attack Bulat. The flute user, Niao, wakes up and attempts to back Liver up, but Tatsumi intercepts him. Tatsumi mocks Niao that his speed is nothing compared to Akame's, but deep down he wonders how these opponents are so much stronger than anyone else he has faced before, including Ogre. Liver shapes the water into a giant serpent to attack Bulat, who was forced to leap into the air and strike rather than dodge as there were civilians in the path of the serpent's attack. Now that Bulat is in the air, Liver knew he had no way of dodging his next attack and launched powerful geysers towards Bulat, hitting him directly and inflicting major damage. The damage forced Bulat to release his Incursio armor. Liver confidently stated that this fight is over, but Bulat points out that Liver's body is equally worn out and that he seems unable to utilize his imperial arm as well. Noting that he is right, Liver asks Bulat to join him and serve esdeath. Bulat turned the offer down immediately, stating that he would never serve the corrupt prime minister in any capacity. As they prepared to fight to the death, Liver enhances his strength with a drug, but Bulat still overpowered him in their duel. Liver resorts to his hidden technique, using the last of his energy to manipulate his blood into missiles which Bulat was unable to fully deflect. Liver dies after using his final technique, but with his dying breath, Liver reveals that his blood contained traces of potent poison and that Bulat will not live much longer. Before Tatsumi and Bulat could even catch a breath, Niao activates his flute's hidden ability and enhances his body and strength drastically. Bulat entrusts Tatsumi with the key to Incursio, assuring him that he will be able to equip the imperial arm as Tatsumi had an affinity with it. With Bulat's encouragement, Tatsumi manages to tame the living armor, which then evolved and adapted to fit Tatsumi. With Incursio's immense power, Tatsumi destroys Niao easily with one punch. Bulat dies peacefully with a smile, knowing that Tatsumi will become a warrior even stronger than him someday. Tatsumi vows to his dead friend that he will get stronger and cries in anguish. Kurome sits on a pile of dead bodies when a messenger appears and informs Kurome that she has been summoned by the imperial capital to join a new group of elite chosen soldiers. Kurome smiles as she realizes that she will meet her sister, Akame, soon. Mine's injuries from Seryu have healed, and as she looks for a sparring partner, Mine finds Lubbock and Tatsumi hard at work training as Leone and Akame sit on them. Tatsumi notes that he needs to improve his stamina to withstand the drain from equipping Incursio. Najenda reports that she will be visiting the Revolutionary Army to deliver the 3 newly acquired Imperial arms, and that Akame will be in charge while she is away. With Shiel and Bulat dead, Najenda expresses her desire to recruit more members, but she doubts the Revolutionary Army will have talented individuals to spare. Tatsumi apologizes for Bulat's death, but Najenda assures Tatsumi that he has severely weakened esdeath's forces. Although she is secretly worried over rumors of a special unit of Imperial arms users that esdeath has formed. Esdeath mourns the death of her loyal servants, but comments that their deaths were entirely their fault for being too weak. A young man named Wave enters the Imperial capital carrying a big bag of fish, drawing stares from passerbys who commented on his fishy stench. Arriving at the palace, Wave enters the meeting room only to get freaked out by a topless man wearing a scary mask. Seryu enters the room with Dr. Stylish, a flamboyant man whose affection for Wave freaked him out. Kurome entered, and Wave thought she was normal until Kurome aggressively guarded her cookies from him. The only seemingly normal person here is Run, a handsome blonde man who entered right before a masked esdeath arrives and immediately started battling everyone in the room. As she welcomes the group formally, esdeath stated that they will be known as the Jaegers. Welcoming Tatsumi to their secret base in Imperial capital, Lubbock and Leone inform Tatsumi that the three of them are the only Night Raid members who have not been identified, and that a new special force has been set up to capture the Night Raid members. Lubbock describes esdeath's conquests and feats in the past, once freezing an entire river instantly to reach an enemy tribe's village just to murder them and instigate uprisings. Esdeath does this so that she can be on the battlefield more often. Emperor Makoto and Prime Minister Honest went through Esdeath's list of criteria for her perfect man, and they exclaimed that no man could possibly fit all her criteria. Tatsumi decides to join a martial arts tournament to win some cash prizes for his village, and he easily defeats his opponent with nothing but his bare hands, impressing Esdeath with his potential. When Tatsumi gave a genuine smile towards the crowd, Esdeath was smitten and led Tatsumi away on a collar leash after knocking him out. As Lubbock and Leone briefs Akame on Tatsumi's kidnapping, Akame declares that she will not be abandoning her teammate. Esdeath brought Tatsumi along on a mission to observe the Jaegers in action, and Tatsumi got to witness the fearsome special unit take down a group of bandits who stood no chance. Tatsumi was filled with anger at the sight of Seryu, but he forced himself to control his emotions. Amazed by the Jaeger's powers, Tatsumi hopes to persuade esdeath to join the revolutionary army. In esdeath's bedroom, Tatsumi tried to go ahead with his plan, but aside from getting very distracted by esdeath's beauty and assets, she firmly stated that she feels no sympathy for the weak, as it is only natural order that they are ruled by the strong. Although Tatsumi tried to persuade esdeath to change her principles if she truly loved him, esdeath vows that she will change Tatsumi's mind someday. Esdeath thinks about Bull's advice for her to not give up, as he was also rejected twice by his wife before she finally accepted him. Longing for Tatsumi to return her affections, esdeath suddenly realizes that she should have taken the chance to shower together with Tatsumi. A sleep-deprived Tatsumi told Wave the next day that he was too nervous all night, and upon closer observation of Kurome's appearance and how protective she was of her food, Tatsumi deduced that she must be related to Akame. Esdeath arrives and announces that the group will be heading out on an expedition to hunt danger beasts. Paired with Wave in the day, Tatsumi realizes that he has developed some sort of bond with the like-minded Wave. After taking out a group of tree-like danger beasts, Wave panics upon noticing that Tatsumi has disappeared, and he activated his imperial arm to search for Tatsumi. Having equipped Incursio to escape, Tatsumi was suddenly attacked by Wave in his Grand Chariot armor. Expressing his outrage towards the Night Raid for their vicious crimes against the nation and its people, Wave angered Tatsumi, who argued that the Night Raid are not evil villains. Wave delivered a powerful kick to Tatsumi and sent him into the river, but Tatsumi took this chance to turn invisible and escape. Akame appeared to save a weakened Tatsumi from a danger beast, and together with Lubbock, they managed to safely rescue Tatsumi. As Kurome punishes Wave for losing Tatsumi, Seryu reports to esdeath that she was unable to track the enemy. As Tatsumi reports to his friends about what he has learned during his time with the Jaegers, Dr. Stylish successfully locates the Night Raid's hidden base with the help of his genetically enhanced subordinates. With the rest of the Night Raid still passed out, Leone made her way outside to wash up, but she was incapacitated by an enemy's sneak attack. Lubbock took out an enemy who had infiltrated their base, and Akame showed up to assist him when a whole army of them showed up. With Lubbock and Akame held back by powerful enemies inside the base, Tatsumi exited only to encounter a massive man wielding Shield's imperial arm. Seeing Shield's weapon in the hands of an enemy enraged Tatsumi, but even with Incursio equipped, he had trouble penetrating the enemy's incredible defense. Mine showed up and completely eradicates the cocky enemy with a powered-up pumpkin blast. Inside the base, Akame chopped off all her enemy's limbs before decapacitating him with some help from Lubbock. As Dr. Stylish realizes most of his troops have been decimated and decides to activate Plan B, Najenda shows up on a flying manta with two shrouded figures. Mine was almost ambushed by Leone's attacker, but he was jumped by Leone this time round instead, finishing him in one blow. As they were surrounded by enemies, everyone in the Night Raid except Tatsumi collapsed as Dr. Stylish's paralyzing poison took effect. A mysterious figure jumped into the fight, and upon Najenda's orders, he cut through the enemies easily. Wondering why he was impervious to the poison, Dr. Stylish detonates his minions, but the mysterious figure regenerated quickly despite the heavy damage taken. Everyone realizes that this was an organic-type Imperial arm, Susanoo. Trying to escape after his minions were wiped out, Dr. Stylish didn't make it far before Susanoo appeared and blocked his escape. Dr. Stylish injects himself with a drug that causes him to mutate into a huge monstrosity, feeding on his own minions to get even stronger. With Susanoo struggling to take on the monster by himself, Tatsumi piggybacked Akame, who was still immobile, and entered the fight. With the help of Mine and Susanoo, Tatsumi managed to close the distance between him and the exposed torso of Dr. Stylish before Akame delivered the final blow with Murasame. Najenda introduces Susanoo and Chelsea to the team formally, and Akame immediately took a liking to Chelsea after she offered Akame a lollipop. The neat freak Susanoo is especially convenient as he quickly constructs a home, cooks, and does all their chores for them. Bowles and Run report to esdeath about Dr. Stylish's disappearance, noting that he did not seem to have deserted the Jagars, seeing that all his equipment are still left in the lab. Esdeath and her group conclude that Dr. Stylish must have been killed. Esdeath joins Seryu in the courtyard as she cleans her weapons, clearly affected by Dr. Stylish's death as he took good care of Seryu, especially after she required body modifications. As Seryu cries about how the evil Night Raid group has murdered everyone she cares about, Esdeath embraces her and promises that she will grant her the opportunity to take revenge someday. As the Night Raid settle into their new base, Najenda gave a pep talk and stated that they should expect no further reinforcements as the Revolution Day draws nearer. As Mine was enjoying a piece of cake, we see Chelsea Imperial Arm in action as she transforms herself into an adorable kitten and steals the cake from Mine. Chelsea admits that her Imperial Arm, Gaia Foundation, is a purely cosmetic tool, but it can be deadly if the user is skilled in the art of deception. During a training session, Leone noticed that Tatsumi has been improving fast, and at the rate that he's going, he will surpass Bulat's level soon. Najenda praised the team for getting stronger after training in the harsh conditions, but Chelsea stated that survival is no guarantee just because the team is strong, even calling out the deaths of Shiel and Bulat as examples of their incompetence. Understandably pissed off about what Chelsea said about her fallen comrades, Mine tasked Tatsumi and Lubbock to come up with a scheme to scare and humiliate Chelsea as payback. Lubbock suggests Tatsumi to sneak up on Chelsea at the bath using Incursio's invisibility, although his ulterior motive is to see how Chelsea reacts to a peeping Tom without putting his own life on the line. As Tatsumi sneaks up on Chelsea, Susanoo stood up from the bath and called out Tatsumi for not masking his presence despite being invisible. As it turns out, it was Chelsea in disguise who got impressed that Tatsumi took her advice to heart instead of getting angry. Chelsea mentions to Tatsumi that her old team was wiped out entirely, and she was only rough on them earlier as she did not want to experience the deaths of her teammates again. Run presents esdeath with a list of individuals who fit Tatsumi's profile, but esdeath states that Tatsumi was the special in her heart. As esdeath walks off, she ponders about the uneasy feelings swelling up in her and wonders if it was because the final battle against the Night Raid is drawing near. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and thanks for watching.